Hello everybody, welcome to my review of One Piece Chapter 2014. So Oda decides to throw a curveball with Luffy falling off Onigashima. Instead of having the typical trope of Luffy being saved by someone, namely Yamato, Oda decides to double down and have Luffy fall into the ocean. Interesting choice. Yeah, it's going alright pretty quickly for the Alliance. So let's go with the cover page. We've got Law with a tiger, and it's cool, pretty cool, and it's pretty much... It's an interesting take considering, number one, the tiger's coming to life, which is a complete reference to Kanjuro in this chapter. Law has a t-shirt, Hunter on it. So we go to the beginning of the chapter and where we left off with the last chapter with Kaido saying Luffy got too cocky because of his ability to weaponize Conqueror's haki. He got cocky and he paid for it. It's some exposition without actually showing anything because obviously Oda's going to save this for the final battle, for the final round between Luffy and Kaido. That's why Luffy's fallen into the ocean, quote unquote, to die. So, but Kaido says your technique has left a lot to be desired. So Kaido, I have two things. Either Kaido has a different form that completely overwhelmed Luffy, or the weaponization of Conqueror's haki wasn't mastered enough to best Kaido, which makes sense considering Rocksteady Beck was part of his crew, was his captain. He was under his crew. He was part of his crew, and it took Garp and Roger teaming up to take the Rock's pirates down. So it's understandable. And there's also another thing that Kaido, besides marking Luffy for the Goma Goma no that he usually says, Kaido says you couldn't be Joy Boy either. Which means Kaido already knows that's an alias. So it has anything to do with Odin or what he's mentioned. Or if Kaido discovered this back when he was under Rocksteady Beck. Because he was trying to discover the secrets of the world. So that would make sense. Kaido gets a call on Dendamushi. Momonosuke has been located. So Kaido, using the hole that Big Mom created to attack Kid and Killer, Kaido goes back down to Onigashima. Now, I didn't expect that because that means Kaido can literally control the skull that's moving towards the flower capital without actually being on top of it, which is crazy because Kaido is about to go nuts inside. So that thing's going to get demolished. So what's also cool about this chapter, we actually get some type of exposition of what other characters are doing we haven't seen in a couple of chapters. So we go to the third floor castle interior, where we see Yamato making a way through, and I'm not a prisoner anymore, I'm Kazuki Oda now. We're under the assumption that Yamato was making a way to Luffy at the top of the skull, but since Luffy's made his way back down, and I'm assuming Yamato heard the announcement with Bao Hong and other Marys that delivered this message. This was the message from Kaido about Luffy being defeated, so Yamato had heard that as well. It'll be interesting to see where she goes because she left Momonosuke. We get to Momonosuke, he's reading the journal of Odin, but it's weird the way he's acting. Like it seems he's like, I can't afford to die here, and for whatever reason, it's written on that journal. Shinobu's like, oh, what are you saying? Of course you can't, but there's obviously a deeper meaning now. There's a reason why Momonosuke has to survive, besides being the Shogun. Freaks out, and that's where we cut to where Queen gets thrown around like a ragdoll. Like we get to see different aspects of what's going on elsewhere. Queen, though, shockingly, is being handled by Chopper in Monster Point, which this is actually one of the shocking parts of the chapter to me, because number one, not the fact that Chopper's holding his own, it's the fact it's against Queen, and number two, we found out that he has a dozen arrows sticking out of him from Perospero. And my first question is, where is Marco at? Because since he was there with Chopper the last time we saw them, Marco's tied up with King right now, which would make sense. Perospero about to fire arrows at Chopper after Queen gets thrown down, but Queen gets back up immediately after that. We actually get to a flashback to where they're on the Sunny with Caesar, where Chopper's having a conversation with Caesar. It's like, oh, I can create a drug for you. Gigantification will last a bit longer with this drug that I can create. It will have some side effects, but it will allow you to go in Monster Point for a bit. That's interesting. We didn't know that. So, but I'm considering Chopper And considering the fact that Caesar said there's obviously a side effect now, that's going to be a problem for Chopper, considering number one, he can cure himself, and two, there's two other doctors on Wano anyway. So that's not a problem. What is a problem is dealing with Queen and Perospero, but like I said, you got to hand it to Chopper. He's holding his own against both of them apparently for a while. Queen gets back up after being slammed down. He uses a technique called Black Coffee with his mouth blast. That's pretty cool. Chopper ducks, and then Perospero fires the arrows and it cuts. So that actually caught me surprised. I didn't expect Chopper to hold his own against a second level Yonko commander and Perospero, which is an impressive feat. But Bahung gets the message. She passes this on to the rest of the Marys. Kaido's message to all who's listening: Monkey D. Luffy has been defeated. It's a way of trying to demoralize the alliance. Now, I find it very interesting that everybody except the Straw Hats are buying this. Like, you have some members of the alliance contemplating this. Law looks kind of shocked. Straw Hat Luffy, the rebel with the highest bounty, has been defeated. And you do actually see Luffy in the war as this is going on, and he's still knocked out. So he goes in his dragon form and he goes into the skull. I don't know what Law's going to do because he hears this as well, and he's making his way to Big Mom. Speaking of which, Big Mom is like, she overhears this and she's like taunting Kid a little bit. It's like, oh, do you hear that? Kid, of course, doesn't care. So, and I'm wondering where Nami and Usopp are. It seems like they're close by, but the last we saw, they tried to get away from Big Mom. So where are they at now? Other fights are taking place. We get to see Frankie, and Frankie kind of questions this, but the rest of the Straws do not. Like, Jinbei's still fighting with who's who. Robin is like nonchalant about this. Brooke is in the background, and which is cool because we're not Oda. Once he goes back to Robin, I hope it's to show the full fight between her and Block Maria. And it also looks like Brooke's taking care of things, so that's kind of cool. You also get the message like, your life will be spared if you become into the fold and join them. And just like on Thriller Bark, I love it. Sanji and Zoro that says this. They're like, screw that. Like, Zoro's awake, but he's obviously messed up. Sanji and Zoro both stay together. That's cool. I kind of think it would have been a bit better to give it that Thriller Bark vibe, because it was most of the Straw Hats said, screw you to Baffler Kuma when he said, give me Straw Hat's head and I'll let you go. Same thing here, only they want the allies to join Kaido. They're like, screw that. So I love it, Sanji and Zoro. I think it'd have been cool. The rest of the Straw Hats at different areas would have said, screw that noise. So that's cool. It's cool also that Sanji hasn't just thrown Zoro down yet. He's still carrying him, it looks like. So I'm wondering where Sanji's going to go. Because right now, there's no other place for them to go other than to where Kaido's at right now, which could be a problem, considering Sanji was looking to help Kinemon out. So that could play a role. We actually go to Kanjuro, and he's found out where Shinobu and Momonosuke are hiding. We find out that Okiku and Kinemon are also there. This is where it becomes dire for the alliance, at least for the samurai it does. Whatever happened off screen, it looks like Momonosuke is panicking because of what he read in the journal. I don't think it has anything to do with Luffy, because you got Kinemon trying to calm him down. We don't know what's going on right now. Shinobu's like, that frog that's spying on us, we need to take that out. So then in comes Oden-sama, aka Kanjuro, and obviously since Shinobu and Momonosuke haven't seen this trick, they're completely buying it, much like Kinemon and Okiku bought it the first time this happened. And Okiku's like, that's not him. So Okiku charges in, and Kinemon's like, close your eyes, Momonosuke, because at the last split second when he's like, I remember when I took you and Izo in, and Okiku's crying, and then that's where Kanjuro strikes with the sword. Kind of hesitates, and then boom, that's where Kanjuro stabs Okiku. It's like, that's payback for what happened with you, with that fatal wound you gave me after all, which, well, I mean, he's a piece of garbage, but the fact that he survived Okiku's attack and delivered his own counter-attack, which is pretty impressive. Now, I don't know what's going to happen to Okiku, because it looks pretty bad. Like, Okiku's already lost an arm, and now just been literally getting stabbed through the stomach. Kinemon lashes out at Kanjuro once he tries to strike Kinemon. He blocks, lashes Kanjuro, And there's a panel to where Kinemon's thinking about Conjuro and the past, and it's like Conjuro is like, oh, good, someone had to close the curtain, and because his parents were performers and he's like, even after I was performing on stage, you were still my best friend. So I wonder if there's any deeper meaning behind that. Apparently, Conjuro has been taken down. Now, we assumed this last time, and Conjuro got back up. And temporarily means I think Orochi is going to make a return because there has to be a member of the Kurozumi clan for there to be some kind of resolution because they got ostracized, but because of the past mistakes of the predecessors, they still did some horrific things. Still has to be a resolution, but then again, Hiyori already said, I want to kill Orochi myself. So I wonder where that's going to go. That's going to be interesting. And Momonosuke could be the one that has the resolution to that. Will be an emotional moment, and it's also a dire moment because we don't know what's going to happen to Akiku. Ajira Doshi's down, and now Akiku's down. And out of nowhere, in comes Kaido. Kinemon's like, we'll take Momonosuke and run. And then props to Kinemon, despite what you think his chances are, he does block Kaido to end this chapter. He's blocking it with two swords to end the chapter. It's hard to tell if he's using Haki on it, if it really matters, because and also if you notice, it looks like one of the blades actually shatters, so it already doesn't look good for Kinemon. I do find interesting though the chapter ends with Onigashima floating around, and you literally see an island which looks to have some factories, so that could be Udon. So just to make you think, okay, that Luffy's in the ocean, but we know where he's going to end up now. So he's either going to end up on that island, or he's going to end up back on Kuri. Oda had Luffy fall off on Onigashima to get away from Kaido for a reason. Now, I'm starting to think that maybe there could be another act in Wano, and if there is, what's interesting is where is he going to end up? Who's he going to bump into? Like, the only two things, there's only a couple of things that can play itself out here. Number one is whoever's on that island we see by the end of this chapter is going to assist Luffy. It could be Hitetsu, but I don't know at this point. Or if somebody else is coming to Wano from outside, maybe they're going to bump into Luffy, get back onto Onigashima. That's a possibility too. The only ones that's a probability right now is the Vince Mouse, but we'll have to wait and see. It looks like Conjuro's done, and possibly Okiku could be next with that wound of Okiku, because it doesn't look good for Okiku right now, especially for Kinemon right now, because if Kaido goes into hybrid form, it's like goodbye. And Kaido being in the skull is even more of a problem now because you also have Big Mom there who's doing her own thing. But yeah, all in all, it was a decent chapter with very dire consequences, which is what a lot of people wanted from this arc. Like, a lot of people could potentially die here. Like, it looks like Conjuro is dead for the most part. Okiku could be dead, we don't know. And it definitely falls back to what Izo said in the previous chapter. What do you think? What was said to Izo by Kawamatsu? It's like, what do you think is going to happen to Wano if we succeed? And Izo's like, let's try and get to tomorrow. So that was a death flag right there. It could be for Okiku, and it could be more scabbards that follow. We'll have to wait and see. Yeah, Oda back at it again with the doubling down with Luffy falling into the ocean to not make things a little predictable. I'm still wondering what the end game is, though. The goal is for Luffy being off of Onigashima, because he's already tried the weaponization of Conqueror's Haki. That hasn't worked. Also curious where Yamato is going to end up, because Yamato was looking to get to Luffy, but that's changed now, so this could be an opportunity, like I said in the previous chapter, Yamato to be the one to bump into Kaido, and maybe we'll get a flashback and get some development for Yamato at the same time. And that, I have to say, Chopper's the MVP of this chapter, in my opinion. Props to him for taking on Perospero and Queen for as long as he has, with arrows sticking in his back. So those are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments below. That's going to do it for today, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Like the review if you did, hit the thumbs up. Appreciate that. Subscribe to have more One Piece. Catch you guys later. That's guys.